We're trying to win the lottery today at JennyPod. Welcome, I'm John.
大家好，祝你好运，我是 Jenny。
So Jenny, upper intermediate lesson?
没错，今天我们就是买彩票。
彩票。
对，John， 你是彩民吗？
Well, I guess just now I said I'm patient. I'm positive. I am also curious. And I would say my personality has also evolved, especially after I started working. I would say in the past, I was kind of a passive student, as you know, many students in China are. You listen to what the teachers say, listen to what they would like you to do, and you do it really, really well. Challenging what the teachers said wasn't really encouraged. So that formed a large part of my personality. And of course, at home, to be a very 我们说很乖的一个孩子, right? An obedient child. You listen to what your parents said, and you don't go out to make trouble. 我要把你 put in order.
Effectively, it's a threat.
对，收拾你。那僵尸也很厉害啊。他说僵尸道长说的就是这个师傅，我要杀死你，我要杀死你。
Okay, so we know the verb sha, first tone, that means to kill.
对。
You joined the praxis language, okay, as a teacher. I mean, Kai En School, right?
Yes.
Teacher, okay. At that time, are you a patient teacher?
I am a very patient person, so I would say yes. I was always a very, and still am a very patient teacher. It's kind of really happened by chance and snowballed to my job now at JennyPod. I had just graduated and come back to Shanghai from Australia. And at that time, I was actually working as a freelance translator, as most translators are freelance. But at the same time, I still wanted a bit of income stability, right? So I went to apply for another job as an English teacher in Cannes School. So I started by teaching English for almost half a year. And then Ken had this opportunity with Hank, who is the co-founder of Praxis and JennyPod, to work on this new project. And they were looking for a teacher, a Chinese speaker. So he was looking internally in his Cayenne school. And I was very lucky to, first of all, be spotted, and second, sort of stayed on as the teacher.
I noticed that you always say things in a very delicate and, fashionable way, if you like.
Such as.
But you seem okay, on air. You speak at the right rhythm, Did you ever train?
I didn't
for that?
I didn't receive any formal training as a host, but after I started my job at JennyPod and later at SoFi, a radio station, listening back to yourself, which could be horrific, and you also start to notice where on mic in the studio you probably need to use your voice in a different way than you would in real life, because in the studio and when people are listening to you and they can't see you, everything you say, where you stop, where you pause, intonation, those are all magnified. And there are a few tricks with the voice, the use of voice. I think a good host or podcaster really need to know.
I mean, your English is pretty good.
Thank you.
And do you ever get help from, your Western friends?
Well, before I went to Singapore, where schooling, education is in English, my mother hired a private tutor to teach me English. So the tutor would spend probably 2 hours every day, come to my place and teach me English. So I had sort of an English boot camp in the beginning. But later, what I think really helped me tremendously is really using the language, right? When you were in school, the language spoken. the days that I was growing up, and it's true for a lot of people of my generation, our parents were very strict with us, especially my parents. They didn't really go to school because of Cultural Revolution. They went to the countryside and later joined the military when they were quite young. So they really wanted their kid to be educated, to receive good education, to sort of embody the hopes and dreams that they never quite were able to realize.
In the 90s,
Yeah,
80s,
mid
right?
90s.
Mid 90s. I don't think there are many Chinese could afford, to study overseas. I guess at that time, your family gained quite a bit of wealth.
Yeah. Well, another thing, I think my story is very typical of Chinese parents, is that yes, my father had his own business, so he made a bit of money, but also he actually spent a significant amount of money that he made on my education. And a lot of Chinese parents would put their entire life saving on their child's education, or when the child gets married, the child's buying an apartment for them.
Oh,
that's the extent.
That?
Yeah. That's the extent of really sacrifice that Chinese parents. He sent me abroad, and I was 14 at the time, so my parents were worried about would there be someone to take care of me, watch out for me. So my mother also sacrificed a lot. She quit her job here and basically went to Singapore to take care of me. So now I'm in my mid-20s. I'm self-sufficient now, but I would also love to take care of my parents because they're aging. I would love to take them travel in China or abroad to sort of reverse the role. I think Shanghainese girls have a reputation within China and now outside of China as well for being very high maintenance. Or being very strategic in a way that they know how to use their feminine charm to get what they wanted. So I suppose in some ways that indicates they're independent. They know what they want and know how to get what they want.
Is it a bad thing, in your opinion?
I think when you start to strategizing and almost use people, then it's certainly bad.
Shanghainese girls never look beyond Shanghainese boys? Why? Is that true?
I think in the past, we have this system in China which sort of restricted mobility of people. So it's very hard for you to move to another city. So if you want to marry someone from another part of China, then where would you going to live and work, right? What we were talking about have this sort of self-importance or conceited sense in a way to think, oh, we're the best in China, so why would you look anywhere else? But that has changed a lot in recent years. And now even native Shanghainese is saying, oh, all the great talents here, people who are the best in their class in university, or people who are at top management level in the corporate world are not people from Shanghai. They're people from elsewhere. So even at work at JennyPod, I would say probably 80% of the Chinese staff is not from Shanghai. So we primarily use Mandarin Chinese. And there's less and less snobbery, if you will, less and less discrimination based on grounds of where you come from. To quote a friend of mine who I think really describes the city very well, he said that Shanghai is a place where things happen, and people think that way. So
things happen.
Yeah, things happen.
People make things happen.
Yes, right. So many people come to Shanghai, they're captivated or they feel dizzy by how fast everything is, how fast people walk, how congested things are, because everybody seems to be coming to Shanghai. There's so much construction, so much change going on in Shanghai.
Can we do a little Chinese pod lesson here, or rather Shanghainese pod lesson here.
So say you want to go to the band.
Yep.
You can tell the person 我想去牙贴.
Okay.
Explain that a little.
Okay.
我想去牙贴 means I want to go to the band.
Okay.
我 means I. 想 means want to. 去 means go. And 牙贴 means the band.
That means 外滩.
对，外滩牙贴
Thanks for your time.
小丫弄